So with the spine and rail sub-assemblies drying, we can now move on to installing the ribs. Now this step can be done while the spine is still drying. Just be sure to leave the clamps on those gussets so things don't move around while we're working on the component. Now when it comes to installing the ribs on the spine, I like to support the spine off the work surface by using spring clamps along their length. This gives us easy access to the entire component so we can get around and press things in easily. Now start by laying out all of your ribs along the length of the spine so that they're in the correct order. One is always at the tail, with the highest number always being at the nose. Begin installing the ribs one at a time by applying glue to both the slots in the spine and the ribs, as well as the faces directly below the slots. This will ensure that you get really good glue coverage and that you won't have any issues down the line. Slot the two components together and make sure they are fully seated. Once that component is fully seated, you can move on to the next slot. If you notice that component wants to pop out of the slot, it's a good idea to apply a clamp, and one really good solution to that is a rubber band that you've cut in half and tied around the component. This is a really cheap and easy clamp, but it does a really good job. Continue this process until all of the ribs are installed into your spine, and then come back and double check every single rib is still fully seated. It is possible for things to move around, especially as we're manipulating other ribs into the spine. Catch it now while the glue is still wet so you can fix it and don't have a hard time having to fix the problem later. Once you're sure that everything is fully seated, you can set it aside and move on to the nose and tail blocks.